Epic Adventures with Bertie Gregory is a brand new wildlife and adventure show on Nat Geo, and we got a chance to speak to the star and the host of the show, Bertie Gregory himself. Check it out.
The stage is set, and this lot are all asleep. Guys, the lines are up, the lines are up.
Hey, first up, before we get into it, I just realized I was University of Bristol class of 2004.
No way, awesome.
Yeah. So when I was looking up your bio, I was like, oh, hey, a fellow alumni. That's fantastic.
Ah, cool. Well, I still live in Bristol. That's where I'm chatting to you from now.
Oh, wonderful. I miss it. I haven't been back because of the pandemic. And oh, God, yeah, I know. Anyway, yes. So let's get into it. I absolutely love the show. Congratulations. There is absolutely something infectious about the way you approach these things. I like to call you, I was describing you to my wife, and I like to call you the anti Richard Attenborough. Because I swear to God, there must be some outtake somewhere of Richard Attenborough going, "Holy shit, this is amazing," which I love about what you do. But tell me this. I'm always curious as to how long it takes for you guys to get the stuff that you do, because I know you've got a ticking time clock on most of your episodes, but what is the process like in the lead up to it? Because you always successfully manage to get some good footage.
Right, so I'll give an example. The Antarctica episode, I think, is the best example because it was the most ambitious challenge that we set ourselves. We were trying to film the biggest gathering of fin whales ever filmed, and we were going to Antarctica on an expedition sailboat. And we were also going at all, of all the times to go to Antarctica, we were going right at the very end of the window that you can basically go there in a sailboat, right at the end of the season, which means the weather gets really nasty, really hairy. But of course, that's when the whales have chosen to do their biggest parties, classically. So that all started probably 2 years prior to us actually stepping on that sailboat. The original plan was actually to go twice. And actually, you mentioned COVID. We were about to step foot on that research ship in southern Chile at the start of March 2020. And I was
Oh,
literally about to step on the boat when got the call from the office, and they said, "No, there's this. Everyone's locking down. You need to turn around and go home." Which of all the places that you
surely
could
that's
be
the
in a global,
safest place. Yeah.
exactly. But I'm not going to get into that. So that fell through, and then of course, like the rest of the world, we were locked down, and I was sat there thinking, God, all those whales, they're out there somewhere partying right now, and I'm sat here thinking about them. And so, yeah, a year later, we got on a 75-foot expedition sailboat called Australis, and we actually had just under a month on the boat. What was interesting about that thing was that usually the limiting factor when you're filming a piece of wildlife behavior is the animals doing the thing. But what was
Right.
unique was that we actually found that the whales very regularly were feeding and gathering in these epic numbers, but we physically couldn't get there because the weather was so bad. So really, the big limiting factor on that mission was the weather. And in all the time we had 6 days where we could actually safely film, and safely was on the edge of the limit for sure. That's definitely the hairiest diving I've ever done. There's something about rolling out of a Zodiac into the open ocean where there are big waves that is everything in your brain is telling you that this isn't a good idea. Then on top of that, you add that the water is -1 degree Celsius. There's also 300 whales around you, and you have absolutely no idea what is on the seabed hundreds of meters below you.
Right.
There's probably
There's a
species there
seal that wants to make out with you.
Right. I mean, those are the animals that we know about. What's extraordinary about Antarctica is that it's so unknown. There's very likely species that are unknown to the human race that are underneath us. So it was all very, very surreal and a little bit scary. But as soon as the first whale swam past, all of that goes out the window, and you're like,
I can
oh,
imagine. Even
yeah.
watching it from here, when you have that shot of just all of their blowholes going off, I was so close to tears. It was just amazing. I've never seen anything quite like it. But tell me this, Bertie. I mean, like whenever I watch a show like this, I'm so incredibly moved by it and by everything that you're doing to create awareness about the planet and wildlife and the environment. But I'm always curious as to what I can do next because I have no idea. Is there anything else that we can do? I mean, is there something that the rest of us watching this on Nat Geo can go, wait a minute, maybe there is something we can do?
Totally. I mean, yeah, you could argue that okay, Antarctica is very, very far away, and why is that relevant to me? Well, we say in the film what's extraordinary about these whales is that recent science has shown that they are
Oh,
carbon
yeah.
capturers, just like trees. A single whale is worth many thousands of trees in terms of carbon capture. So, looking after whales, not only do you then get to see loads of whales, but we're also helping. It's a critical solution in the climate crisis, and that's pretty extraordinary. So, in terms of what you can actually do yourself, well, all the things that you can normally do as an individual feel like a small thing, but collectively we're strong. So, I think it's just thinking about everything you do in your daily life. Whether that be your diet, that's a brilliant way to really make an instant impact and not dramatically change your life. Think about what you're eating, where your food comes from, and then I think also it's this idea that we need to rewild the planet because that's good for wildlife and it's good for us. So whether that's your little garden or the park down the road, or maybe you have an influence on an even wilder place near to you. I think that's the key, is that if we can just, whatever space that we have, help wildlife thrive, that's going to help us for sure. And so, yeah, from looking after wildlife, you get a warm and fuzzy feeling. You
Yeah.
get something amazing to look at, but also it helps us humans. So it's a win-win for everyone.
I've got like a minute more, but I need to ask you this. As a documentarian, because it's something that's always been in the back of my mind every time I watch a show like this, the non-interference thing, like how do you get? I remember watching March of the Penguins, and I'm just like, oh my god, help the goddamn penguins! I'm screaming at the screen. Um, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean the golden rule is if what you're seeing is natural, can't get
Hands
involved.
off.
And to be honest, you know, the reality is that nature, you see a predator hunting prey. Somebody saw the leopard seal that we filmed in the Antarctic episode. They
Right.
saw that video of it catching the penguin, and they said, "Why didn't you save the penguin?" And firstly, you shouldn't, and secondly, how are you going to convince a leopard seal not to do that? What's the plan here to stop that happening?
Keep humming Circle of Life in your head.
Exactly. That said, if we do occasionally come across situations where animals are in trouble because of humans, then we will intervene or work with someone to help that. So, as an example, in the lion buffalo episode, while we were filming, we were working with the Zambian Carnival program, who we feature in the film, putting the collars on the lions. Shortly after we finished filming, one of the lions that we followed got caught in a snare. Big
Right.
wire loop that got stuck around his neck, and because of that collar that we helped place, they were able to relocate the pride, find that lion with the snare around her neck, cut it off, and saved her life. She would have died if it not had been the incredible work of ZCP. So that was really cool to be part of.
Very cool. Bertie, I'm all out of time. I could speak to you all day. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for the work that you do. I have absolutely no use for a drone, but I really want one. I don't think my wife is going to let me buy one, but I really want one. Thank you so
Nice.
much, man.
Thanks very much for having me.
The thing that makes me most excited is that I have no idea what's in store for us.
That was Bertie Gregory, the star and host of Epic Adventures with Bertie Gregory on Nat Geo. Don't forget to check it out when it drops on Disney Plus Hotstar. Let us know what you think when you do. Sound off in the comments below. Check out our other interviews right here on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your family. You know what to do.